Let's do this. The Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for the faithful. I'm David Staples of the Edmonton Journal, and I'm here today with Scott "The Rock" Bolton. Scott, welcome back to the podcast. It's been a while.
It's been a while, Dave. Thanks for having me back. Hey, I got to comment on that poster behind you. That is from my childhood. That is a classic. Team Canada, 1972.
That is a classic. You know what's even a rarer find is there was a similar poster made for the Russian team.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah. My neighbor Eric Doig had that one. And it was the only time I ever saw it. But that would be cool to have as well, like that. Yeah. I don't know. Mine's not exactly in mint condition. It got all moldy and wet in the basement, but it's still, you can still see who these guys are.
Yeah, still does the job. Cool.
Big moment in our lives, Rock.
Yeah, it
72
was.
Made me a hockey fan.
I
was a hockey fan before that. 71 playoffs.
Yeah.
When did you become a hockey fan?
Well, that's my first memory of anything.
72?
Yeah. Well, in Miss Drake's class, were you in Miss Drake's class?
Yes. Yeah, I was.
We listened on the radio.
Yeah, on the radio. We couldn't watch it on TV. For people wondering, Scott and I have known each other since we were young boys in the town of Devon.
We have. Yeah, the town
Played hockey together all our lives. Played on the same men's team, the Millionaires.
Yeah, same team.
Which was not a very good team. Became a good team when we left it.
Yeah, Grant Fuhr played in Spruce Grove when we were in our league. So
Grant Fuhr?
Yeah.
I have just the vaguest memory of Grant Fuhr in the net. Like, I think I played against him one game, and I just remember this. I just think remember him as skinny and super fast, and that's about it.
Yeah, I had a breakaway on him. Did not score. I don't even know if I got the shot away. I was the consummate stay-at-home defenseman.
You were.
Yeah.
All right. Tonight, it's the Oilers lost to the Kraken 3-2. The grade A shots in the game were, according to my count, 17-9 for the Oilers. With the subset of 5 alarm shots, which are even more dangerous, 7-2 for the Oilers. So these Oilers essentially got goalied by Joey Daccord. This happens. I mean, Stuart Skinner did it to the New York Rangers earlier this year, and now Daccord did it to the Oilers. It's part of hockey, where you're the better team, and you just can't score on that other goalie. Skinner, well, he was okay, but he wasn't great, and we'll get into that.
Yeah,
we're gonna
big saves.
Yeah, 2 good things, 2 bad things, and 2 numbers. Scott, what is your good thing?
My good thing is the play of the new guys. In general, not everybody. Roslovic, first and foremost, I think. He was all over the place, had some really good chances, was, throughout the game as well.
I gave him a 7 out of 10.
Did you? Yeah.
And which means a good game. And that's what I thought he had. He made just one little mistake on defense. He got a one-timer, and near the end of the second period, 1 second left, he almost scored.
Yeah.
Who else did you like of the newcomer?
Tomasic was good. Savoy, I thought he was buzzing around. Phil, I just think he's quite responsible and effective. He gets in there. He doesn't do stupid things. Frederick was better, although I will say about him, and I know you've talked about him already, but he's going to be around to the middle of the next decade. His job is, as you said, is to get in there and do something, knock some people around and get, they're so listless all the time, seemingly to me. And tonight I felt, we'll get into that, I felt they were, stretches of listlessness. And you need, we miss Perry, we miss Kane. I think they, they push them out of that. And Frederick needs to play that role, and he isn't yet. But he had a good shot and did some things occasionally in the game that were good.
He did. He set up Philp actually off his skate there. They rushed in there in the late in the first period, I believe. Yeah, Frederick took it down the boards and centered it, and Philp charged the net and almost scored. I agree with you. Philp seems to be quite a smart hockey player and energetic, and he's good on defense. It's hard to play defense in the NHL as a center. It is in some ways. It's not as hard as being a defenseman, but it's close second to that. And he seems to be doing okay with it. And I like him on the team. Like I like Henrique on the wing a lot more. Adam Henrique on the wing a lot more. I think he's too slow now to play center. And Frederick looks slow to me. He just looks, to use your word, slow and listless. I'm getting tired of saying it. I'm just tired of criticizing him. I wonder if he's injured still. Like he had that high ankle sprain. I understand these things take a long time to recover from. Maybe that's it. But
well, there was one scrum in I forget when it was, in second or third period, where it was an easy time for him to knock somebody on their rear end or just agitate, get the game going, and he didn't. And I don't know. I'd like to see more of that. Maybe it is the high ankle sprain.
He could still punch someone with his face. He doesn't have an arm sprain. Punch someone in the face.
Anyway,
I like Tomasek as well. He in the first period, he made a really good play. Draisaitl made a pass into him in the slot, and he was on his. He had his back to the net, and he spun around and got a good shot on net. And then in the last minute, McDavid made that hard pass in, and he almost tipped that in. God, that would have been great if Tomasek scored on that. He's tough, eh? Like he's around the net.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think on the Bouchard goal, he screened the court.
He did.
So, that was a good play, and he did that a couple of other times too. So he was effective.
What did you think of Ike Howard?
Well, I didn't notice him, to be honest, because I wrote them down. I was going to say the young guys, but they're not all young.
No,
I didn't really. He wasn't up to much.
No, he took a penalty as a guy broke in to score, which was a good play, I thought, because it was. But then he let Montour break in again and get Montour in the end shot off the side of the net in the third period. But this has happened repeatedly where players have been promoted to the top line. Tomasek, Savoy, now Howard, Podkolzin. They've all been promoted, and none of them. They've all had terrible games. Like they've been working hard. They're on the upswing, and they get promoted to play with McDavid, and then they have a terrible game. And it's not McDavid. I think it could be they're intimidated in that role and just don't know what to do.
Yeah, afraid to make a mistake, perhaps. Yeah, I would be.
Can you imagine?
No,
even like I play old timers hockey, and even like the really good players that I play with, I feel nervous. Like when they give me a pass, I think, oh, I better make a good play now because this good player passed the puck to me. And just imagine that playing with McDavid, and he's giving you the puck, and like, oh God, I better do something good. And that thought in your head, like even if it's in the back of your head, would probably make you turn it over in that moment.
Yeah, suspect that's part of it.
Yeah. All right, my good thing is Leon Draisaitl. 2 assists tonight. Should have had more. He was in on 10 grade A shots. He's had a pretty mediocre start to the year. He's been struggling to get going. I don't know if he took the summer off because of his wedding, and McDavid was training like a maniac, I guess, all summer. But I'm not sure about Draisaitl because he's been awfully kind of slow. He's been slow moving the puck. But right from the first shift, he came out. He got the puck and he drove it from just inside the blue line on net, and then he charged in and got the rebound. So he looked like he was moving right from the start. He set up that play by Tomasic,
Yeah.
as he's called. On the power play, he got what I call his executioner shot, that wicked one-timer where he almost impales the goalie's head with the follow-through on his slap shot. He made a beautiful backhand seam pass to Roslovic for a 5-alarm one-timer. He on the power play to finally get them going, he charged in from the wing, put a shot, I think, off the goalie's shoulder or head, won the rebound, took a pass from Nuge and whipped it over to Bouchard and Bouchard slammed it in. So he was integral to that goal, and on the next goal as well. He made a really nice backhand pass right along the blue line. How hard is that? And Ekholm made a good shot, quick shot, and then there was Nurse there tipping it in. So Draisaitl was flying tonight. He had a really good game. He deserved at least 2 points, and shame he couldn't have got a bit more.
Dave, I got to compliment you. I don't know how I guess you've been doing this a while. You rattle off 19 different things he did in the game.
Well, I'm just reading I've written game grades as the game goes along,
Okay.
right? I've written, and I've got also a running count of grade A shots that I keep track of, right, through the game.
I think
I have these different lists and reminders, and it wasn't like if it's a really high event game, if there's a lot going on, like the Montreal game, and you're doing all it, like it can be so much information, you get befuddled by it. And I know Kurt Levens feels the same way. But this was a relatively low event game. There wasn't a lot going on, so it's fairly easy to remember some of the high points.
Well, on that point, just to quickly, I what a difference though in the two games. I mean, in the excitement level and the pace, and it's just night and day. I mean, really, I wouldn't want
the Kraken play
times. Yeah.
What did you think of the Kraken style of play?
Well, I guess that's the style they have to play, and they go into the rope-a-dope in the third period, and but it's not exciting, and I don't know that it ultimately gets you anywhere. You might get into the playoffs, sneak in, and win a round, but I guess that's what they got to do, and they do have some good young players that maybe they can build on, and they're a good, solid team. They don't make stupid mistakes, but it's not exciting hockey.
Maybe a recipe for mediocrity. Although if you do add good players to that, if you can add good players, then suddenly, like if you're really disciplined and you've got then suddenly some good players who also play disciplined hockey, then you're like Vegas, and you have a chance of winning the cup, right? So, but they do have to improve the quality of their team.
Trade for Draisaitl. Yeah. No, I take the point.
I mean, in the first 10 minutes of the third period, the Oilers didn't have a grade A shot. Like the Oilers are desperate to come back in this game. They're just down by 1, and or was it 2 by then because they scored early in the third? Yeah. Oh no, they scored with 8 minutes left. That's when Eberle got his goal. Okay, what's your bad thing, Rock?
Well,
that's Scott's nickname is Rock, by the way.
Yeah,
didn't gather that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's the first Kraken goal for me is the bad thing, because to me it exemplifies the season in a way, because you had Bouchard sort of try and pinch at the wrong moment, and he did it lethargically, and then so now they're off on a 2-on-1. Ekholm doesn't block the pass, and then Skinner sort of got over, but he kind of fell forward on his face almost, and there was a hole on the short side. The puck's in the net, and we're a minute in off of that after a really good start. That first shift that Draisaitl was on, and then the whole momentum swings, and they weren't sharp after that. So to me, that's the bad, because we're having far too much of that over and over again, and the same as the last 2 years, and it's going to catch up to them. So that's my bad thing.
It was it's the kind of goal that they let in a lot last year, especially early in the game, and it was kind of more of a reminder last year than like this year they've just been they've been bad every which way. Like their defensemen are giving away the puck all the time. They just invent new ways, it seems, to screw up. And this was a kind of a return to the badness of last year, where they allowed all these what I call goal rushes, rushing up the ice and they score. They hadn't done that a lot this year. There hadn't been a lot of cross-seam passes allowed this year, which is Skinner's, that's his.
Yeah.
I guess if he was a vampire, it would be his cross. It's the thing that gets him every time. Yeah. And he's just not good at it, moving across the net and making that save.
He makes himself small somehow, like skinny.
He doesn't.
I don't know how to. Yeah, because I take the point. I agree. Yeah.
There's a guy called Steve Valiquette who's a goalie expert. He was an NHL goalie. He actually played a game or two for the Oilers, I think. And he talked about, I think it was him, or maybe it was Kevin Woodley, the other goalie expert, but one of them, just how a lot of goalies, when they push across, they have such flexibility.
Yeah.
They can seal the bottom of the ice. They keep their pads. They kind of slide across the bottom of the ice with their pads along the ice. Skinner lunges. And on the second goal, I think it was the second goal, again, another cross-seam pass to Ty Carty, I think is Cartier or Carty, slammed in the net. He was again diving across, trying to get it, as Ron McLean said, throwing caution to the wind and throwing technique to the wind. It's a real issue with Skinner. As long as the Oilers don't allow that kind of play, and you can cut that out of your game with really disciplined defensive play, but the Oilers don't. Like, this is like, there was bad pinches, like, and my bad thing to segue is the second and the third goals. The second one, there was it was Ekholm this time who lost a battle inside the blue line, and then Nugent Hopkins was caught flat-footed as they raced. He was covering for Ekholm, at least. There was no one covering on the first goal, but Nuge was covering. And then Adam Henrique was caught out. He was caught flat-footed in a race for the puck, essentially, racing with a guy, and he lost that race, and it was centered over to Carty, and slammed in because Bouchard couldn't cut it out. It was a tough play for Bouchard, that one, because it was a back pass. Maybe his positioning was a little off, though. Maybe he should have been a bit higher up the ice if he read it properly. But it's very difficult. It's that one was on Ekholm and Nuge more than on Bouchard. But again, so these are hard shots for any goalie. They're not easy to stop. Skinner allows in a high number of them. He's one of the least likely goalies in the NHL to make that kind of save. And if you can get that kind of chance against the Oilers, you have a good chance of maybe beating the Oilers, and that's what Seattle did. The third one, what do I got here? Ekholm. Oh, yeah, this is where they are pouring it on at this point. They're trying to get that goal. And Ekholm makes a bad pinch. He's out of the play. And Bouchard has a chance for the puck, but he just can't make the play. He just tips it instead of pushing it deep into the zone. So it's a mistake on his part as well. These two guys are having a rough year together on defense. They're in massive defensive slumps. And they rush up the ice and Eberle puts it in again.
I think Kevin BX, maybe it was another one of the panelists, said that they have not been on the ice for a 5-on-5 point.
Yeah. Is that right? Well, I know there's not one line on the Oilers, one forward line that has scored more than one goal. Like, there's not one line that has more than one goal. And I don't think they changed that tonight because they got a power play goal. So this is at even strength. I'm talking about 5-on-5. And let me just see here. What was the next goal? Yeah, I'm not sure who was on the ice when Nurse scored. Maybe they finally broken through. The Oilers are lucky, actually. Half the record they've got, because they've not been very good. And
and it's this listlessness that I know the stats suggest they dominated the game, like you read at the outset, the high danger chances, what have you. But it didn't feel that way to me watching the game. There were stretches where, at the start of the second period, they were really good until on the counterattack, Seattle scored.
Fair enough.
But
yeah,
overall, they go through these 10-minute stretches and that falling into the trap that Seattle sets for them, really.
What I would say is that it never felt like the Oilers were going to win that game.
Yeah.
Like maybe when it was still in doubt, but as soon as it got 1-0, it just stopped feeling like they were going to win that game. And then when it was 2-0, especially, never after that. Like I had some hope after the goal, but it just never felt like they were going to come back and win that game, even though they were getting lots of chances. For one thing, the goalie was really good for Seattle. He had a great game. So
yeah, I felt the same. I had the same feeling throughout.
The melees,
yeah.
All right, let's get out our thesaurus.
Yeah.
Okay, your number.
Number 1. McDavid stuck on 1 goal, and I know it's only 9 games in. I don't want to, far be it from me to, comment on how Connor, plays, but there was and it didn't get any attention on Hockey Night in Canada. Jake and Louis and Jack didn't focus on it, but there was one play in the first period where he had the puck on his backhand right in front of the net, and they didn't play a replay of it. And he might have been in too tight, but he passed it back, and it was knocked down by he didn't get it through the Kraken defenseman who he was in front of. Mm-hmm. And he's just so, what's the word? This focus on distribution, it seems to overwhelm him instead of, taking the shot or trying to score. And I don't know. And he'll break out of it, I know, but I don't think he had a shot tonight. At the end of the second period, they didn't count that one. So is this an issue, do you think, or did we just wait?
Well, he said he was going to come in the year with a shoot first mentality, and I've yet to see it. Like he was getting a fair number of great, like the first 2 games, he was just flying. So, he was creating like crazy the first 2 games. But since then, he's just been struggling on the attack, which is a weird thing to say about Connor McDavid, but he's, even when teamed up with Draisaitl, I mean, they are clicking on the power play now. The power play is looking good to me. It's looking dangerous. It's even without Hyman or Perry last year, Tomasick's done a pretty good job in front of the net. And they're clicking there, but at even strength, they just can't find the right combination of players with McDavid. And I thought it would be, like, honestly, I thought it would, I'm okay with Draisaitl up there because Nuge has become such a good second line center. But I thought it might be Mangiapane and Draisaitl, who would be the guys. But now Leon's going on his own line. You might want to keep that. I don't know. Like, they just keep changing up. I guess Roslovic, since Roslovic and Tomasic had good games, so they'll be promoted to the top line for the next game.
Yeah, and then they'll fall back.
Fall back.
I
going well.
It was good too. That could have been one of the good things, because as soon as the second power play where they scored, I mean, it was like the old Oilers instantly. They were just flying around, and
Draisaitl came close to scoring a couple there, and then Bouchard got it in.
Bouchard, it was nice to see him get a goal.
Okay, my numbers are around Darnell Nurse. I thought he had his best game in a long, long, long time, since maybe the second or third game of the year. He's been struggling. He's having, and I'm not going to single out Nurse because for bad play, because every Oilers defenseman, other than Jake Wallman, has been playing poorly this year. Wallman's just been in the 3 games. All the other guys have struggled. Emberson had a good game tonight, and Kulak did as well. But Ekholm and Bouchard struggled. But Nurse, he was pretty darn good. So he played, let me just refresh this in case they change the numbers here, because sometimes that happens. He played 21-10, 3 shots, 1 goal. He had a hit, block shot. But where he really came to the fore was in terms of creating grade A shots and defending against them, where he's really been struggling at even strength this year. So in this game, he helped create 5 grade A shots, including the one he scored on, where he went to the net and tipped it in. He went after Mason Marchment, who injured Hyman, and he roughed him up. That was really good. So again, 5 and 2, 5 positive, just 2 negative for Nurse. And going into this game, he had chipped in on 10 grade A shots in the previous 8 games, and he got 5 tonight, and he had made mistakes on 28. So he was 10 and 28 heading in, which for a defenseman for Nurse, that's awful. For a defenseman, that's awful. It's play that if you continued to play that way, you would be out of the NHL. They'd buy you out. And he is just such an inconsistent hockey player, game to game. This year, at least. I should say that last year in the regular season, and I've made this point many times, he played strong hockey most of the year, and then his game fell apart in the playoffs. But this year he's had probably 2 or 3 good games, and the rest of them have been really bad. So great to see him have a good game. He can really play well, and I don't know what it is that gets him playing well or has him playing poorly. I can't figure it out. I don't know. He's been in the league a long time.
If you brought me on this podcast to answer that question,
well, that's exactly why I brought you on the podcast.
I have no idea, and I agree with you. And it's been a train wreck up until he played well tonight. Yeah, he did actually, and you got the stats to back it up. But yeah, until then, what about Ekholm? What's your?
Started out really strong this year. In the last 3 games, he's been in a huge slump. I hope he's. The worry is he's 35. And I've talked about this where at age 35, NHL defensemen tend to fall off a cliff.
Yeah.
So I was really optimistic after the first 6 games because he was just playing great. Thinking, okay. But anyway, I just think he's caught the disease that they all have, whatever it is. I think he's going to play well again. And I think that Nurse will get it together and have a good regular season. I think he's going to, as this season goes along, he's going to have many more good games than bad games during the regular season. The test for Nurse is in the playoffs. For the last 3 years, he's been really poor. And his play, Bouchard's play rises in the playoffs. The last 3 years, he's gotten better. And so some fan was asking me, I can't remember his name, why do you always pick on Nurse and you never pick on Bouchard? Which I don't think is true, but I am more partial to Bouchard because for this reason, when it counts the most in the Stanley Cup playoffs, he plays great. He improves his play from the regular season. And Nurse is the opposite. He's been good in the regular season often, but in the playoffs, his play has dropped. And that's the crucial time for an NHL hockey player, especially on a team that hopes to win the cup. You can't win the cup if some of your top players getting the most minutes consistently tank it in the playoffs. So
yeah, it's hard to argue. I mean, we all saw it last year. I just worry about this slump. This is the 3rd year of doing this. What scared me was the Montreal game. You made the point, or somebody maybe it was Kurt made the point that it was like the old Oilers beating the Montreal Canadiens in 1981.
Yeah, I was saying that. Yeah,
or you said that.
Yeah.
Whereas you can flip it around and say, there were some stretches in that game where the Oilers looked old and slow, and I don't remember feeling the way I did watching that. It was a little disconcerting, and I know they won somehow, and I know they're going to get it together. But the point is, you can't stand still in this league, and there's some teams coming up that are younger, fast.
It's the first time I felt that watching the Oilers, honestly, watching that game, was because of that. It just reminded me so much of how the young Oilers made the Canadians look slow. The great old Canadians look slow in I think it's 81.
and they get along, and the camaraderie, the enthusiasm, well coached.
That's right. There's just a vibe about that team. They're all having fun. They're rocking and rolling up the ice. They're making plays. And the Oilers, they're just tense. They seem tense. The young players who, like Ike Howard and Savoy, who can kind of rock and roll, they're not really there yet.
But isn't it crashing and banging? Isn't that where we're missing Kane and Barry? And that's what Frederick has to do. And you're right, Mark. I like Nurse going after Marshman because that he's just that type of player that does stuff. Cost us the cup.
It was a freak play. It was a freak play.
Well, it was, but he's always involved in these type of plays, and he sort of. Anyway,
he's one of those guys. Yeah, maybe the Oilers will trade for him at the deadline. Yeah. We'll see. The Oilers first they got to get playing.
I know they got to
get playing.
Yeah, you're doing your part, Dave. You and Kurt, I don't know.
We're hanging in there. Alrighty. Any final thoughts? Anything you'd like to add?
No, I think we've made our final. Let's get going here. That's my final thought.
Oilers get going. Yeah, I think that's what every single one of us is thinking after every single game. Like, get going. I mean, that's what the experts were saying. Like Jason Strudwick and Craig McTavish were both saying that. Like two games ago, like the Oilers have got to take the puck to the net. They got to take the puck to the hard areas to try to score. And we still are not. This was better. This was better. I should say that. I think they did do a bit more taking the puck to the hard areas. Seattle was pretty firm in their defense there as well, though. So
yeah, and they're a tough team to play against, and it's you got to just grind your way through it. And and they deserved a better fate tonight. Fair enough, but still, I won't. That's not to excuse this body of work so far this year.
Alrighty, Rock. Thanks for talking tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
And in the meantime, and in between time, this has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast.